men who operate at the absolute highest levels of American power do not simply vanish. They have security, they have entourages, and their movements are constantly tracked by both allies and enemies. To disappear completely requires a breakdown of that entire apparatus. James R. Hoffa was not a man who slipped by unnoticed. As president of the Teamsters Union, his face and his voice were known in households across the country. His authority extended directly to the hundreds of thousands of truck drivers moving freight on American highways. With a single order, Hoffa could stall the national supply chain, leaving grocery shelves empty and factories without materials. That level of influence drew intense scrutiny. His tenure was shadowed by constant federal investigations, allegations of widespread corruption, and deeply entrenched connections to organized crime families in New York and Chicago. By the summer of 1975, Hoffa was out of federal prison. He was aggressively maneuvering to reclaim the Union presidency he had been forced to surrender, threatening to expose the illicit networks operating within the Teamsters. He was a man making enemies of very dangerous people. The total erasure of his existence, therefore, was an incredibly precise, calculated event. The final, verifiable hours of his life unfold in the Detroit suburbs on the afternoon of July 30th, 1975. Hoffa drove his green Pontiac Grandville to the Machus Red Fox restaurant in Bloomfield Township. He was scheduled for a sit-down meeting with two known mob figures to settle his disputes over union control. He waited in the gravel parking lot behind the restaurant. The summer heat was oppressive. Minutes passed. The two men he expected to meet never showed up. At 2:15 p.m., he walked to a payphone near the hardware store behind the restaurant. He called his wife, Josephine, expressing sharp frustration that he was being kept waiting. He hung up the receiver and returned to the parking lot. After that moment, nobody can definitively confirm seeing Jimmy Hoffa alive again. There was no dramatic shootout, no public spectacle. A man who commanded armies of workers stood waiting in the sun of a suburban strip mall, and then he was gone. By the next morning, local police located his green Pontiac exactly where he had parked it. The doors were unlocked, the interior offered nothing. There was no blood on the upholstery, no signs of a physical struggle, and despite the busy location, not a single witness reported seeing an abduction. Within days, the Federal Bureau of Investigation assumed control. A disappearance of this magnitude required a sweeping, immediate response from the federal government. Agents executed hundreds of interviews. They placed wiretaps on known associates and squeezed mafia informants for any detail regarding the meeting at the Machus Red Fox. They scoured the physical landscape of Michigan. Investigative teams tore apart remote fields, excavated barns, and searched landfills based on anonymous tips and underworld rumors. It yielded absolutely nothing. The complete failure of this massive manhunt to recover a single piece of physical evidence revealed the grim reality. This was a flawless, professionally executed trap. The investigation stretched from months into years. Almost a decade passed without a credible confession or the discovery of remains. Finally, in 1982, the legal system had to reconcile with the cold facts. A probate judge officially declared James R. Hoffa dead. The ruling finalized a deeply unsettling legal reality. The state issued a certificate of death without a body to bury, without a confirmed murder weapon, and without a defined crime scene. Today, 50 years after he vanished, the mystery continues to generate countless theories. Books and films continually propose intricate mafia betrayals and secret burials beneath football stadiums or concrete foundations. Yet beneath the noise of those theories, the actual FBI files remain silent. The physical proof of his final moments is still utterly blank. Hoffa built an empire that touched nearly every American industry. Ultimately, the lasting memory of his reign is the chilling demonstration that a human being, no matter how powerful, can be completely erased.